Let's have the number 1, 2, and 3 seeded Frederick, Walkersville, and Urbana. Please join me on stage. I have to say before we start that the level of sportsmanship and camaraderie displayed all year long has been wonderful. They play hard, but they congratulate each other. You have been terrific. All the teams have been terrific all season long. So give yourself a round of applause for that. Now I'm excited. Championship match. Okay, here we go. Let's start with the buzzer check. Frederick? All working. Good. Frederick High School, would you introduce yourselves, please?
To my far right is Ethan Shiflett. To my immediate right is Noah Anderson. To my left is Jamie Rowan. I'm Samuel Melcher, and we'd like to thank Napoleon Morset for being an integral part of our team, even though he was left off the program.
Aw. Walkersville.
To my right is Patrick Hubert. To my left is Roshni Patel. To my far left is Ryan Puthmana. And we would like to thank the scores table.
Oh, the scorekeeper. Urbana.
To my far right is Fung Tran. To my immediate right is Arvind Ganeshan. To my left is Addie Wang. I'm Jasper Mary. And we would like to thank Leonard Euler for inventing a better way to approximate value.
Excellent. Never gets enough credit. Okay. Round 1, a competition round. 10 questions with a theme or recurring focus, 1 point up or down. And tonight's final round category, double letters. Each answer will include at least one pair of consecutive double letters. Example, what fruit was used by Stephen Jobs for the computer company? And Apple, of course, would be the answer. Don't need the letter, just need the answer with a double letter in it. Question 1. This word is defined as a person who is not conversant with a particular activity or skill. It can also be used to describe a person who does not have any magical blood in them in the world...
Walkersville?
Muggle?
A muggle in the world of Harry Potter, that's correct. Question 2, this question requires a 3-part answer. Name the 3 boroughs in New York City that...
Walkersville?
Queens and Brooklyn. Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn.
That is correct. Question 3. This famous comic strip character has pretended to be a vulture, a flying ace...
Frederick?
Snoopy.
Snoopy, correct. Tennis pro and the head beagle. Question 4. A 20th century Spanish artist with an early blue period...
Walkersville?
Picasso?
Pablo Picasso is correct. Question 5. Josh Brolin played this protagonist in the Coen brothers film No Country for Old Men. His last name also finishes the phrase, a rolling stone gathers...
Frederick?
Moss.
That is correct. Question 6. Mr. Watson, come here. I want to...
Walkersville?
Response, please.
Telegraph.
I'm sorry?
Telegraph?
Stephen?
Telegraph?
No, the rest of that question was, Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you. These were the first intelligible words uttered over the telephone in 1876 by this man, Alexander Graham Bell. Question number 7. These can be vitamins, but most think of them as candy.
Urbana?
Supplements.
No, I'm sorry. Candy and come in shapes such as sharks, bottles, frogs, worms, and bears. Gummies. Gummies. Question 8. This is an American multinational technology company that specializes in internet. Sorry.
Google?
That's correct. Internet-related services and products. Question number 9. This is a medium-sized mammal native to North America.
Walkersville?
Kangaroo.
North America. Double letter. Moose.
Medium size. Raccoon.
Response, please.
Raccoon.
That is correct. Question number 10. There are 9 United States states that fit this category, but...
Walkersville?
Mississippi.
That is correct. Only one has 3 pairs of repeating letters. Name it. That is correct, and that completes the round. Round 2, in an individual school round, 6 questions from a variety of topics, 1 point for correct response, no points deducted for an incorrect response. Frederick, would you introduce any new players, please?
To my far right is Lily Chalkley, and we'd like to again thank everyone on our team for just making this a great season.
Terrific. Walkersville.
To my right is Evan Panetti. I'm Kathy Krantz, and we'd like to thank all the WHS staff that came out to support us tonight.
And Urbana.
We have 2 new introductions. To my immediate right is Judah Bija, and to my far left is Ezekiel Ganesan, and we'd like to apologize for that goofy intro.
All right. Let's see. Walkersville, would you pick A, B, or X for Frederick?
X.
X it is. These questions are for Frederick High. Question 1. Literature is my utopia. Here I am not disenfranchised. No barrier of the senses shuts me out from the sweet, gracious discourses of my book friends. They talk to me without embarrassment or awkwardness. So wrote this American author, who was the first deaf and blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree in this country. Name this woman, immortalized in the book The Miracle Worker.
Helen Keller.
That is correct. Question 2. What is the only country through which both the equator and the Tropic of Capricorn pass? It is the largest country of Latin America.
Brazil.
That is correct. Question 3. What is the main means by which autotrophic plants obtain energy?
Sunlight.
Well,
Photosynthesis.
yes,
Is
thank
that-
you. I don't know enough about science to know for sure, but you saved the day. Question 4. Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. So said this man, who was the hero of the recent movie The Darkest Hour and the Prime Minister of Great Britain during World War II.
Churchill.
Winston Churchill is correct. Question 5. This is a breed of medium to large size working dog. It's a relatively new breed of dog with their origin dating to 1899. As part of the herding group, this breed of working dog was developed originally for herding sheep. Rin Tin Tin is a famous example of this breed. Name it.
German Shepherd.
That is correct. And question 5. There were 2 head coaches in Super Bowl 52 for the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. One was a Super Bowl veteran with 8 appearances. The other had never been to the Super Bowl as a head coach before. Name either one of them.
Bill Belichick.
That is correct. Doug Peterson was the Eagles, and that completes the round for a minute. Oh, excuse me, that completes the round for Frederick. Sorry. All right. Urbana, you pick A or B for Walkersville.
A.
A. These questions are for Walkersville High. Question 1. This device utilizes oxidation reduction reactions to transfer electrons from the anode through a connecting wire to the cathode. The most common type of device uses zinc metal and potassium hydroxide to produce electricity. Name the device.
Battery.
That is correct. Question 2. The standard size of this kind of dog was developed to scent, chase, and flush out badgers and other burrow-dwelling animals, while the miniature was bred to hunt smaller prey such as rabbits. Name this breed of dog famous for being nicknamed a hot dog or a wiener dog.
Dachshund.
I have one myself. Question 3. In Super Bowl 52, which backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles threw for 3 touchdowns, caught a touchdown pass, and was named the MVP?
Foles.
Nick Foles is correct. Question 4. Literature adds to reality. It does not simply describe it. It enriches the necessary competencies that daily life requires and provides. And in this respect, it irrigates the deserts that our lives have already become. So said this famous writer of the Screwtape Letters and the Chronicles of Narnia. Name him.
Lewis.
C.S. Lewis is correct. Question 5. In what country would you find the Great Fence? It is also called the dingo fence and the dog fence, as its purpose is to protect sheep from dingoes and other predators. What country is this Great Fence in?
Australia.
That is correct. And question 6. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is to not stop questioning. So said this German-born theoretical physicist who developed the theory of relativity, one of the 2 pillars of modern physics.
Einstein.
That is correct, and that completes the round for Walkersville. And that leaves us with packet B for Urbana. These questions are for Urbana High. Question 1. In Super Bowl 52, which quarterback threw for over 500 yards and didn't have an interception, yet fumbled the football in the last few minutes of the game, leading to a loss for the New England Patriots?
Tom Brady.
That is correct. Question 2. This element's name is derived from the Latin word for coal. Diamonds and graphite are among the hardest and softest materials made from this element. This element is also the basis for all living organisms. Name the element.
Carbon.
That is correct. Question 3. This famous American author stated that courage is grace under pressure. He wrote about men in dangerous situations, including Death in the Afternoon, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and The Old Man in the Sea. Name this author.
Hemingway.
That is correct. Question 4. This breed of dog is a large-sized breed of dog bred as a gun dog to retrieve shot waterfowl, such as ducks and upland game birds during hunting and shooting parties, and acquired part of their name because of their ability to retrieve shot game undamaged. Name this third most popular breed of dog with a sunny name.
Golden Retriever.
That is correct. Question 5. There is nothing which can better deserve your patronage than the promotion of science and literature. Knowledge is in every country the surest basis of public happiness. So said this famous historic person, who was the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War and later presided over the 1787 convention that drafted the U.S. Constitution.
Washington.
That is correct. And question 6. What East Asian country calls itself Nippon, which is its official name?
Japan.
That is correct, and that completes the round. Round 3, competition round with buzzer system for team recognition. 10 questions with 5 math questions, 30 seconds to respond to the math questions. Once the scores table recognizes you, you must answer immediately for the math question. 1 point up or down, correct or incorrect. Urbana, would you introduce any new players, please? Excuse me, Frederick, would you introduce any new players, please?
To my far left is Zachary Doris. To my immediate left is Chris Bondock. To my right is Cole Ciervo. And I'd just like to say I've had a blast these last 4 years, and I hope everyone else enjoys this just as much as I do.
That is true. And thank you for cocking your eyebrow at me so I got the team name right. Walkersville.
To my right is Jacob Kudella. To my left is Emily Sims. I'm Michael Flegel, and we'd like to thank all of our friends and family for coming out to support us.
And Urbana.
To my far left is Richard Ma, and we'd like to thank Bertrand Russell for completely dismantling the foundations of mathematics.
Okay. Round 3, here we go. Question 1, math. What is the largest prime divisor or factor of every 3-digit number with 3 identical non-zero digits?
Urbana.
37.
That is correct. Question 2. What was the name of Charles Lindbergh's plane in which...
Frederick.
The Spirit of St. Louis.
That is correct. He completed the first nonstop solo transatlantic flight. Question 3, math. Of the following 3 numbers, which is greater? Log base 2 of 4096, the arithmetic mean of 7, 15, 24, and 6, or 1, 1, 0, 0, base 2.
Frederick. The arithmetic mean.
Yep, the second one. The arithmetic mean. Good. Question 4. There are 6 forms of this genetic blood disease, and an individual must have inherited the gene from both parents.
Walkersville.
Response, please.
Hemophilia.
No, I'm sorry. The people who have inherited this disease have some protective advantage against malaria. Sickle cell disease. That's what we're looking for there. Question number 5, math. The ages of 5 sequoia trees in a forest are consecutive, even integers. If the total of the ages of the 5 trees is 4,440 years, then how many years old is the oldest tree?
Walkersville.
892.
That is correct. Yeah. Question number 6. Which role has been played by all of the following actors? George Lazenby.
Urbano.
James Bond.
Excellent. I only played it once, but you knew it. Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, Roger Craig, Sean Connery. Question 7, math. A set of test scores is normally distributed. If 68% of students scored between 66% and 80% on a test, what percent did a student have to score on the test to be in the top 0.15% of the class?
Frederick. 94%.
That is correct. Yeah, excellent. Question 8. The Principality of Monaco is a sovereign city-state bordered on 3 sides by which country?
Walkersville.
France.
That is correct. Question number 9, math. If the sum of the squares of 2 numbers is equal to the sum, this is my last math question. I was almost through. Let me try it again. If the sum of the squares of 2 numbers is equal to the square of their sum, then what must be the product of these 2 numbers?
Urbano.
0.
Correct. And question number 10. In The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, the story is told about Jay Gatsby.
Urbano.
Nick.
More specific, please.
Nick Carraway.
Yep, that is correct, and that completes the round. Who is Daisy's cousin, who narrates the novel? You got it. All right, round 4. Competition round with buzzer system for team recognition. Tonight's round, 1968. 1 point for correct response, 1 point deleted for an incorrect response. Frederick, would you introduce any new players, please?
No new introductions, but we'd like to thank the scorers table.
Hi-oh. Walkersville.
To my right is Shayna Melson, to my left is Jonathan Rushbrook, and to my far left is Milan Patel, and we would like to thank Hot Wheels for being better than Matchbox.
All right. Anna.
We have no new introductions, but now I'd like to give a special shout out to a team member, Hey Jude.
1968, here we go. Question 1. On October 11th, this was the first mission in the U.S. space program.
Frederick. Apollo 7.
That is correct, to carry a crew into space. Question 2. He had just finished his speech and was cutting through a...
Walkersville.
No, Robert Kennedy, probably.
Kennedy?
More specific, please.
Robert Kennedy?
That's correct. And was cutting through a kitchen corridor on his way to another part of the building when he was killed. Question 3. 36 major cities and towns in South Vietnam were targeted, and it caught U.S.
Urbano.
Tet Offensive.
Yep, caught the U.S. forces by surprise. Question 4. The police assault in front of the Hilton Hotel the evening of August 28th became the most famous image of these demonstrations in 1968. The entire event took place live under television lights for 17 minutes, with the crowd chanting, "The whole world is watching." Police attacked demonstrators at the Democratic National Convention in this...
Walkersville.
And this, it's called Aspen City, it's Chicago.
Chicago.
That's nice talking it through. That's right. Chicago is correct. Question number 5. Mickey Lolich, Norm Cash, Mickey Stanley, Jim Northrup, and Al Kaline were all Major League Baseball players for this team.
Walkersville.
Detroit Tigers?
That's correct. Again, I remember it like it was yesterday. Question 6. This question requires a 2-part answer. These men wore black socks.
Frederick.
Tommy Smith and John Carlos.
Excellent. That is correct. Black socks and no shoes. Black power salute. Question 7. More than 6 stories tall, it weighed 300 tons. This craft suddenly made world travel possible for far more people.
Urbana.
Boeing 747.
That is correct. September 30th, 1968, it was introduced. Question number 8. The Beatnik Bandit, the Custom Barracuda, the Hot Heap, the Silhouette, and the Custom Mustang were among the Sweet 16 first cars offered by Mattel in what hugely...
Urbana.
Hot Wheels?
Walker, so you'll be kicking yourself on that one. That is right. I remember that very well, too. Question number 9. This is a U.S. law that was enacted in 1968.
Walkersville.
Civil Rights Act.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. That regulates both an industry that makes this product and the owners of the product, the guns or firearms industry. Was the rest of that. Question number 10. This CBS crime drama had 200...
Urbana.
Mod Squad?
Sorry, it's incorrect. Had 281 episodes. The first one premiered on September 20th, featured Jack Lord as the head of a special state police force that where he said, "Book 'em, Dano, Hawaii 5-0." And that completes the round.
Just a game.
Okay, of course, audience, please be sure to not say any answers. Feel free to gasp or scream as we go along, but be careful. All right, here we go. Last round of the year. Round 5, a competition round with buzzer system for team recognition. 20 questions on a variety of topics. 1 point for correct response, 1 point to leader for correct response. Frederick, right? Any new players?
To my far right is Maddie Trainer, and we'd like to thank the Mayor of Frederick, Mr. O'Connor, for being here tonight.
You're here. Walkersville.
No new players, but we would like to thank our team, coaches, and families for giving us a great season.
Absolutely. And Urbana.
No new introductions, but we would like to thank our assistant principal, Ms. Hackett, for coming out to support us
All right.
tonight.
Okay, here we go. Question 1. He first mentioned the idea for a volunteer foreign service while giving a speech on the steps.
Walkersville.
Kennedy?
That is correct. Of the Michigan Union in Ann Arbor in 1961, named the president who began the Peace Corps. President Kennedy is correct. Question 2. This scientist is regarded as the first modern chemist and was one of the pioneers.
Urbana.
Lavoisier.
No, I'm sorry, and was the pioneers of the modern experimental scientific method. His book, The Skeptical Chemist, is seen as the cornerstone of modern chemistry. Robert Boyle. Robert Boyle. Question 3. The first episode in season 2 of this popular television series is entitled Mad Max.
Urbana.
Stranger Things.
That is correct, and focuses on the high score of an arcade game being reset by a newcomer. Question 4. This question requires a 2-part answer. More than 72,000 visitors entered this museum last week, the National Portrait Gallery, 3 times greater than usual, to see these paintings.
Walkersville.
Presidential portraits.
Which museum?
Oh, it was National Art Gallery? Yeah.
National Art Gallery presidential portraits.
More specific, please.
Obama portraits.
More specific, please.
Michelle and Barack Obama
That is correct.
portraits.
A 2-part answer. You didn't say anything wrong, so I'm going to keep you going. Question 5. In 1968, Joel Silver introduced the idea for this game to the Columbia High School Student Council in Maplewood, New Jersey, in the United States. The next year, the first game was played between 2 groups of students. They used a Whammo master disc and played a game that has some...
Frederick.
Ultimate Frisbee.
That is correct. Question number 6. In the film The Godfather Part 2, a scene at the beginning of the film focuses on a young Vito Andolini arriving...
Walkersville.
Godfather 2.
Focus on a young, who's the actor? What will happen?
Oh, that will be,
Response, please.
Pacino.
No, I'm sorry. Arriving in America at the beginning of the 20th century, he stands in a long line and is processed and examined before an immigration official. The scene takes place on what island? Ellis Island. Question number 7. This is one of the 2 major ancient Greek epic poems attributed to Homer.
Frederick.
The Iliad?
Wrong one, sorry. The Odyssey. It is in part a sequel to the Iliad and tells the story of the Greek hero. That's a tough one. Question number 8. Mount Thor on Baffin Island has the Earth's greatest sheer vertical drop, which is 4,101 feet. You can take 1 step off the peak and fall nearly a mile before you hit anything. In what country is...
Urbana.
Canada.
That is correct. Mount Thor and 10 provinces and 3 territories, etc. Question 9. This question requires a two-part answer. Both of these men died on the 50th anniversary.
John Adams, Jefferson.
Walkersville.
John Adams and Jefferson.
That is correct. On the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, a super famous trivia question for sure. Question number 10. Perhaps the most famous par 3 in the history of golf is named Golden Bell. It is only 155 yards, but it is protected by Rays Creek in front and azaleas behind. Tom Weiskopf, Rory McIlroy, and Jordan Spieth all lost this tournament because of this 12th hole. What tournament is played every April in Augusta, Georgia?
Walkersville.
U.S. Open.
No, that's in June. This is the Masters. Question 11. This former student from Cambridge University traveled with Lieutenant Fitzroy, who was commissioned to sail a scientific expedition around the globe. Because of his science background, he was brought along.
Walkersville.
Darwin.
That is correct. He was brought along so he could explore and record observations. HMS Beagle, origin of species. You didn't need any of that. Question 12. According to 50states.com, this state was the first state admitted to the Union.
Frederick.
Delaware.
I'm sorry, after the ratification of the Constitution. Its state capital is the smallest state capital in the U.S. and the only state capital without a McDonald's. Its state capital is the largest producer of maple syrup. Name this state whose largest employer is IBM, Vermont. Vermont. Question 13. In a collaboration between Frederick County Public Libraries and FCPS, this day was celebrated.
Frederick.
National History Day.
No, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. This day was celebrated with elementary students in order to increase access and interest for students in technology. Name this day that was celebrated at 6 public libraries across the county yesterday, Digital Learning Day. Frederick News Post. Question 14. Perhaps the most famous movie trivia ever. The first line of this famous film is stated by Orson Welles as his character.
Urbana.
Citizen Kane.
Yep, you could say Citizen Kane or Rosebud, either one. Name either the famous film or the last words of Charles Foster Kane. Question 15. This literary character, in a book published in 1851, had an artificial leg made up of white polished.
Urbana.
Ahab.
That is correct, Captain Ahab, a white polished bone. Question 16. Name this physical quantity which Newton used in his original statement of his most famous law.
Urbana.
Gravitational constant.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. This force exerted on a massive object equates to the time derivative of this quantity. A direct relationship exists between mass and velocity, the product of which also equates to this quantity, momentum. Momentum. Question 17. Where was the Bay of Pigs, whose invasion.
Frederick.
Cuba.
Correct. And sparked a crisis on April 16, 1961. Question number 18. According to Travel and Leisure magazine, approximately how much of the Earth's population live in the northern hemisphere? Is it 50%, 70%, or 90%?
Urbana.
70%.
90%. Hard to believe, but yeah, 90%. Question 19. This man failed as a businessman, storekeeper, and farmer.
Frederick.
Truman.
No, I'm sorry. He also failed in his first attempt to obtain political office. Lots of other failures, yet he persevered and ended up becoming the highest rated president in history, named the 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. Question number 20. Fill in the blank on these lines of poetry. In Xanadu did blank.
Frederick.
Kubla Khan, a stately pleasure dome decree.
You got it, and that completes the match. Congratulations, Walkersville High School, 2018 champions.
The team that thinks that's first won. There's a reason for that. The team that thinks that's first won. Yeah.